Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Exploring Awesome. I am your host, hypnotist Jim Kellner, and my goal with the program really here is to help you and me to live a more awesome life. And so I bring on guests that seem like they're living pretty awesome lives and invite them to share their tips, tricks, and strategies to help, again, you and I live a more awesome life. Trigger warning. If you're triggered by awesome, look away. Today's guest, I've been reviewing his website. He's just wow. You meet these people and you go, how do they do all that they do? He is an author. He's an actor. He's been a long-time businessman. He's been a crew chief in the military. He just wow. Everybody, please welcome. And when I say author, he's an author of several books. Everyone, please welcome Sylvester Boyd. Welcome, Sylvester.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Oh, nice day today. Sunshine today. Great day.
Nice. Where are you living at?
I'm in Chicago, Illinois, downtown.
Oh, all right. Cool. I've not spent much time in Chicago.
Yeah, it's a great city. Frank Sinatra said it's this kind of town. So
they do make great pizza for sure.
Yeah, I'm at the Chicago Dogs and Chicago Pizza. It's a great time.
Right.
We always hear the bad things about Chicago, but I've been here off and on my life, and it's a great place to be from. I'm not too far from Grant Park and Lake Michigan, and in the summertime it's a great place to be. Navy Pier, etc.
Oh, that's cool. Cool. Well, so for everybody watching at home, I'm going to have a chat with Sylvester. You are welcome to drop your questions down in the chat box and or the comments section, and I will be happy to ask Sylvester. And I'll even drop a link if you want to come on the show and ask some questions, get involved. Happy to do that too. We're also going to towards the end, we're going to ask Sylvester for his 3 tips for living a more awesome life, and then of course we will play friend or frenemy. If you know, you know. Sylvester. Can you give us just maybe a paragraph of your highlights from your life, your bio, if you will?
Okay, I'll give you a quick synopsis. Born in Chicago and on the south side of Chicago. I've traveled extensively throughout my life. I went to Chicago State University where I received my bachelor's degree in geography and history. I've been a businessman for 20 years. I did business with people like McDonald's and Coolidge, Golden, Colorado, Hershey, Pennsylvania, etc. Kellogg's, Battle Creek. I've been an actor. I am currently a background actor and have acted with people like Boris Whitaker, Taraji P. Henson, Wendell Pierce. You go on and on. People on the Academy Award shows, I many times looked at the show and see people I stood not too long ago beside or acted beside. I've traveled the world. I've been from Copenhagen, Denmark, to Honolulu, most of the islands in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Canada. I'm not going to bore you with all the places I've been, but I've traveled extensively. So that kind of I taught school in Chicago public schools. I'm trying to give you a rundown. It's quite a of things.
Quite a life.
Yeah.
Well, and before we started, you told me that you're 80 years old, so I guess you've had a little bit of time to fit it all in.
Yeah, and I try to use my time well. I mean, I think that's one of my points of my life, my philosophy. We only here for a while, and so get the most out of it. That's one I've been my guidepost.
Were you always such a I guess a high achiever, a really go-getter?
Well, yeah, I don't think of myself that way. People think of me that way. They tell me that's awesome and all that, but I just think of myself as being my authentic self, not letting anyone stop me from doing things I think I should do. I was taught when I came up not to make excuses. That was the tools of the incompetent when you make a lot of excuses. So my mother used to tell me, did you get it done? And if you didn't, the excuses, she wouldn't accept excuses. So I was raised that way.
Yeah.
Life is like the rhythm of the world. Everything, being a geography and history major, I learned the world is in a rhythm. It's always up and it's always down. The ocean comes in, the tide goes out. You're on a flat plain one day in a prairie, and the next day you're on a mountaintop. So the rhythm of the earth is what everybody has to kind of understand, and not enough people understand that. We're all on planet Earth, and planet Earth has certain rhythms to it.
Gotcha. And I'm really drawn to the books you've written. As I'm looking at your website, and that's boydbooks.net. Everybody, that's boydbooks.net. By the way, if you're out there watching right now, I see we do have some people watching live. Please comment down below where are you watching from. Love to find out. And we're gonna put Sylvester's website up there. So as I'm looking at some of the offers that you have up there, let me go find it again. Did I lose it? Sorry, give me just 1 second while I re-find it. Shoot, hold on. The Road from Money. Now, was that your first book?
It's a series of books. I'm on my fourth book in that series. It's an award-winning series. I can say I'm an award-winning author.
Right.
I've received several awards. So it was my first book. Basically started with The Road for Money. Then it was the story of my aunt Estella, who was born in Money, Mississippi. It's a historical town. It was the town that I don't know if a lot of people saw the picture Till recently. And it was the town that event occurred, and the murder of Emmett Till, which had a profound effect on the civil rights movement here in the United States. So my folks were all from there. I've never been there. I was born in Chicago, Cook County Hospital, but my grandmother, my mother, my aunt that I wrote about, all of my relatives, most of my relatives are from Money, Mississippi. And they came to Chicago in the historical event, the Great Migration, from the south to the north of a lot of African Americans. So they had a lot of history connection to me. Being a historian, I'm able to connect the dots. We're taught to connect the dots. So my aunt passed away upon her death. I decided that her life was interesting. To make a long story short, she went from the cotton fields and sharecropping in Money, Mississippi, to a millionaire in real estate in Chicago. So It's a long journey, and I thought it should be something that I wanted to write about. It's a story that I think people needed to hear, and she was driven. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Shoot, I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Awesome. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Becca Helen. She's watching from the UK. She says, "Great story, Sylvester." And we got Tina West watching from Michigan. And if you're out there, please let us know, where you're listening from. We'd love to know. If you listen to this later on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, be sure and give us a review. And if you're over on YouTube or Facebook, give us a like, give us a share, whatever. We want to get Sylvester's story out there. I got to tell you, it looks like a really compelling series. And I mean, I'm sure you've heard this before. It kind of reminded me of Roots.
Yeah, it's been compared to The Color Purple, Roots, a lot of the African American stories, 12 Years a Slave, some of those major motion pictures. As a matter of fact, we're working on a play, a movie, or a TV series from the series right now.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And I got to tell you, so it's and not just with its with African American history, but also you're really going from from 1925 or earlier, all the way up through 1968 in your first three books.
Right, right. The fourth book is not finished yet. It'll be this fall before I think I'll complete it around this fall. That's the final book in the series.
Hmm.
In each book in the series covers a certain time period. The first book is all located in the South. The location of the setting for the story is in the South, Money, Mississippi, and the second book starts when she arrives in Chicago. So each book has different flavors and backgrounds. It gives a lot of history. It gives the music of various different times. We got World War II. She was Rosie the Riveter in World War II. So
Oh, really?
yeah, she actually worked at the defense plant here in Chicago, working on aircraft, riveting stuff for the engines of aircraft. So she is an American through and through. Her life is all. She's traveled the world. She actually stood on the Great Wall of China before she passed away. So
Really?
she's a world traveler. So that's a long journey from the cotton fields of Mississippi to standing on the Great Wall of China.
Well, it makes I wish we could bring her on the show, right? I mean, she would have some,
Yeah. But
she would have some great tips, wouldn't she?
yeah, when you look at me, you look at part of her because she was like my
Right.
second mother. She didn't have any children, so she took my mother, the oldest of her brother, and my mother was her sister, and she took from her brother Leroy, who was in the book, and from my mother Elizabeth, who was in the book. She took us as her children. So I had a heck of a. It's coming up in America. I didn't find a lot of the problems because she was very middle class at my when I was a kid. She was a very middle class person, upper middle class. I'd have to say. So I learned to go to plays and. She took me to trips like Niagara Falls, and so I was exposed at an early age to a lot of things that the average kid may not be exposed to. Middle class kid might not be exposed to.
Yeah. So, we start with your. I'm sorry. What was your aunt's name again?
Estella.
Estella. So we the story kind of starts with Estella, and now we're up through you, Sylvester. And not to single anybody out or mention any names or anything, but has everyone in that line kind of risen to that level and kind of exhibited the traits of an awesome life, or has there been trials and tribulations?
Yeah, I'll give you a few of the examples. My nephew is biochemistry. He has a degree in biochemistry. He works for the United States government in Washington D.C. I have a brother who is a principal of elementary school. He just retired recently. My sister was also a teacher, so that gives you some idea that the family was. We were taught that don't let anything stop us from living our full life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And not only that education was the key to the door, and if you don't get an education, then you can't go through the door.
That's such a great point. I love that because it really kind of exhibits that, when you have that kind of philosophy, from somebody that says, get the most out of life, don't make excuses, don't let anything stop you. It really does have an impact on future generations coming up.
Yeah, well, you must give you another example. My stepfather, my father and mother divorced at my age 9. But I was fortunate to have a great stepfather, and he actually built a house bought 40 acres of land in Michigan. He built a house week to week, from paycheck to paycheck. And when they moved in, they didn't have any mortgage. So that gives you an example of the drive, and the foresight. And the reason they did that, because we were in Chicago, and my mother didn't want us to be exposed to some of the elements that even back in those days, which she thought were distasteful. And so she moved to Michigan, out in the country with the cows and the pigs, and I actually took vocational agriculture. So I can tell you a whole thing from a brown Swiss cow.
Wow. Cool. So what was it? So your first step, I guess I'm trying to because you've done so much. So I'm trying to track this. So So you get out of high school, you go to college right away, or did you go to the military first?
No, I wasn't. I never in the military. I think you said I was.
Oh, I think you said a crew chief or something.
Yeah, but I was the crew chief at American Airlines.
Ah, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, crew chief at American Airlines. So you went to college first, I guess.
Yeah, well, I went to college. I worked my way through college. I went to junior college, and I went through college for $500. Went to junior college, absolutely free at that point in time. And then I got a scholarship, and the only thing I paid for my college years was my books. So I was fortunate and I was blessed there. I made it in history because it's always people, places, and things have always fascinated me. Why we do the things we do, and as a human species, and where we did them and how we did them. It always fascinated me. So I took history, and it to this day I'm speaking at. I'm a public speaker, motivational speaker. I mean, I'm giving you a lot in a little time, but I'm a motivational speaker and doing African American history. I just spoke, matter of fact, about Carter G. Woodson and the reason for Black History Month now with Black History Week originally. So, I mean, those things, and I go into schools and I speak to the young kids and I try to motivate them to do the right thing. And it's easy because life only has two patterns. It's a wrong one and a right one. You can go down, you come to a crossroad and you got to make a choice. So I taught school in Chicago Public School. I was certified teacher from grades K through 12. So I've taught every grade K to 12, from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grader, 12th graders.
Wow. So you have packed in a lot. I said you're 80, but there's a lot of people that get to 80 and don't pack that much in. So
well, there's a lot of people that don't get to 80.
That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah. So it's life to me. The thing that holds most people back in life is they're afraid of change.
Yeah.
I have done things that most people think I was a maniac to do. I would take risks. I was a risk taker.
Yeah.
And that came from my aunt. She was driven. My family, I won't say my aunt. I'm giving her a lot of credit. She do that, but my mother and my stepfather and my uncles, I mean, they were all kind of people who were driven. They would take, my aunt would say, you got to take a little of nothing to make a big something. And that's sort of the way that I was kind of raised. I think in geography, I learned that the earth is, we're all on a planet. Okay, number one, we're all human beings. Number two, no matter what race, creed, color, where you're located, you're a human being. So when people ask me about race, I say the first thing I'm part of the human race. And if you put that into perspective, you take a lot of crazy stuff out of the picture. Basically, I think we as people should learn to achieve the dreams that we have. We all have dreams, generally speaking. I mean, some of us don't achieve our dreams, but it's like anything else. It comes with work. It comes with disappointment. The old term, blood, sweat, and tears. Most times, you're going to face something. I don't care. Even the richest people, I'd like to be a millionaire tomorrow this time. Okay, I want to hit the lottery. But that comes with people that may kidnap you or other things that may happen that you don't even have to worry about right now. So everything comes with baggage. And I've learned that in life. So that be careful what you wish for because you may get it. And you got to be ready, prepared to handle it.
And I do think that kind of is something that can get in the way of people. I think, some people do have like I don't know if I like the term fear of success, but there is, when you're successful, there are things that come along with that may be things that you don't necessarily want. Could just be a higher profile, people noticing you. And some people just aren't, maybe don't feel comfortable in their self-esteem with that kind of a thing. So I do think that's an interesting point.
Well, you get judged. I don't get judged. No, I guess now being in the movies, people do start to recognize you can a little bit. But basically, you get judged by others, and you try to don't live up to others' expectations of you. You put your expectations of you and live up to that. Don't try to live up to Joe's or Jim's or Jill's expectation. Live up to who you are, who you
Yeah.
want to be, where you want to go, what you want to see, who you want to know. Those are the things that are important. Be true to oneself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you say that the being judged part too, because I remember I was talking to a hypnotist about some people who had been another hypnotist, in my field, because some people had given me some grief about some stuff, and he said when you stick your head up, there are going to be people that are going to try to knock you back down, and so you can either let them knock you back down, or you can refuse and keep moving forward. And I think great people throughout history, they've all faced that, right? The greatest people that have ever, and you as a historian would know that better than anyone, but anyone who's done anything significant has had their detractors, their haters, their judgmental, people as well.
Well, and I was always taught that do the things that you feel make you comfortable, and as long as they're legitimate, as long as they're legal. The things that a person that does the things that they enjoy never works. I mean,
It's true.
In my life, I've always liked to travel. Well, so be it. I ended up working for an airline, and I ended up to travel all over the world. But even since I've left the airline, I've traveled. I've been on cruise ships. I think I just got back from Cuba just before the pandemic, and the Caribbean. So
Yeah.
it's something I wanted to do. It's something I love to do. And with my knowledge of geography and history, it takes me even further into that, because basically what I'm able to do is when I get to a place or I see a site, I see it from a different perspective than a person who has no knowledge of what took place in that location or what made that culture the way it is. So I'm able to kind of taste the different flavors of different countries when I travel because of my background in history and geography. So, but that was my way of, somebody else might want to be an electronic engineer or structural engineer and look at a bridge a certain way. Everybody is not cut out for the same thing. But I was taught when preparation meets opportunity, success is guaranteed. So that's some of my philosophies that was passed down to me.
That's a great saying. Hey, everybody, you are listening to Exploring Awesome. I'm your host, Jim Kellner, talking today with Sylvester Boyd. Go check out his website, boydbooks.net. It's BOYD books.net. He's got some fantastic looking books up there, a trilogy right now, and he's got another one on the way. Also, how do, I guess people, if they wanted to book you for motivational speaking events, they could get contact you through your website as well.
Correct. Everything when you go to my website is like my general store. You can see my biography. You can see my acting. I'm a background actor, so you can see some of the roles I've had and some of the famous people that I'm standing right next to or acting beside. So you can see a little bit about how I got to be who I am and the things that I've achieved. But my achievement is I won't be here forever. Nobody is. And so to pass my knowledge down or to help others is a part of what the person that I try to be. I always try to reach and help the next person up, never push a person down.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. So everybody stick around. We've got listener questions. We've got 3 tips for living a more awesome from Sylvester, of course. And of course, we're going to find out if he is a friend or a frenemy. You don't want to miss that at all. And please do download the Hypnosis Hero app if you have a Android device. I got about 10 recordings in there, hypnosis and meditation, that will help you to live a more awesome life. Apple, we're coming soon. You can also head over to my website and get a free hypnosis download. That's jimkellnerhypnotist.com/free hypnosis. Sylvester, so many people on their bucket list is to write a book. I think even just people that are totally happy, with, maybe they don't want to move, they don't want to be the CEO of a company, or they don't want to start their own business or something. It's like everybody's got that, well, I've got a book inside of me. When did you start writing?
Upon my aunt's passing away.
And so, and what age were you at that time?
I would say I was in my 60s.
60s.
Yeah,
So So you didn't roll out of out of bed as a kid and start writing books. Um, I mean, everybody has people that they love that pass away, but they don't necessarily write a book. What really compelled you? Had you been thinking about writing before?
Uh, Always when I was in college, I took some English courses. I thought I had it within me, but doing other things. And when she passed away, I said, "Wait a minute. If not me, who will the
Yeah,
story ever be told?" And I
yeah,
thought she deserved this story. And I didn't take English for writing. I never took writing courses. I sat down and said, "I'm going to write a book." It's that simple. People say, "Well, how do you get to be a writer?" Simple, write. It's as simple
right,
as that. I mean, it may not, it sounds kind of crazy, but people
right.
are often at conferences and whatever. How do you get to be a writer? And you sit down and you write. And
Yeah,
the more you write, the more stories come to you, or more whatever you're writing about, whether it's a technical book or whatever, it comes to you if you plug your brain in. The brain is
mm,
a fascinating piece of apparatus, and if you
hmm.
plug stuff in, it's like plugging stuff into the wall. You don't get electric till you plug it in. It's
Ah,
like that.
that's a great metaphor there. Yeah, I love that. So I mean, somebody could be sitting out there going, "Boy, I'd really like to write a book or a play or a movie or something, but I just don't know what I'd write." It sounds like what you're saying is just start writing and it will come to you.
Well, we all got families, okay? So
Yeah,
there's stories and families that go by the wayside by the thousands every minute. So
true.
that we all maybe have a technical, maybe you're a mechanic or you're mechanically inclined. So maybe you can invent something that way or talk about that type of arrangement. It's just so many things that you can write about. The thing that we don't have is discipline. I'm a very disciplined person. I say I'm going to do something, and my mother used to always say it when I was a kid. She always taught me, "Did anybody else ever do this?" The word "can't" was never allowed in our house.
Mm,
Did someone else do it? Well, you can do it too. Now,
right.
how bad do you want to do it? Because there's going to be a price. Can you get the education? Can you get the funding? Can you whatever it takes to get that done? Are you up to doing that? Because you're going to have that challenge come forward. And I think that a lot of people could take a lot from that. Always be driven forward. Don't be afraid to change because life is ever changing. Nothing stays the same. There's no 2 days in your life that is absolutely the same. You may think they're the same, but you do something a little different every day. Same, different place, different time, different clothes, different whatever it is.
Yeah.
Nothing is ever the same. Life is like a kaleidoscope. You turn a kaleidoscope and it looks one way. And it may look very much like the last pattern, but as you turn it, you see there's several changes going on all the time. That's life.
Yeah, really good points. Really good points. And discipline. So, what would you say to people that don't have discipline? Were you just born with it?
Well, people that don't have discipline don't end up in a good place most times.
It's
I
true.
mean,
You're
if
right.
you're not disciplined, a kid that doesn't have discipline in grammar school probably might be part of one of the institutions for people who don't have discipline called jails. So I
Right.
mean, or even not that extreme, you don't accomplish what you could accomplish.
Right.
You waste your talent, you waste your time, you
Yeah.
waste your abilities. And so, you discipline, you say, how do you write a book? I have to be disciplined enough to sit there. And as it's 2 hours a day or whatever it takes, I sit certain times and my wife knows not to bother me. I'm writing now. This is writing time. And you cut the TV off and you go into that world and I open up the books and that Stella comes alive and the characters start doing things and people start talking to people and things start happening.
Hmm.
But I have to plug that into my brain to make that happen. If I sit there and I'm not disciplined, nothing happens. Guess what? I have no books. And my book series has won awards, it's award winning, reader's favorite, it's 5 star. So, but when I sit down, I didn't think I could, I had a doubt about myself
Right.
for a minute. Can I
Yeah.
do this? And then I could hear my mother's voice saying, "You saying you can't?" And that's the opposite of that. So, okay, let's get started. And I sat down and I started writing.
Yeah. Well, and the interesting thing too is I think that a lot of people would get caught up on the end as far as, you know, is it going to be good? And I think that when you're just starting, I think it's helpful to just write or just create, and worry about it being good later, and chances are you'll get better as you do it, right? As you plug in more.
Yeah, not only that, like I said, the story comes to you. I mean, if you're not thinking about a thing, it doesn't happen. You have to think about a thing
Right.
for it to happen.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the grocery store, you got to say, what do I need at the grocery store? You have to think about it. Or
Yeah.
you get up the next morning and no eggs and there's no bacon to cook. It's simple. I mean,
Right.
we are all creatures that have to be motivated. Your brain has to be stimulated. And the more you stimulate your brain, the more you get out of it. The less you put in, the less you get out. It's simple. You put money in the bank, you can get interest, and you can get things out of the bank. But go to the bank and you have no money in there, you get nothing out of that bank.
It's true.
Simple as
And
that.
back to discipline, I think that one of the things that I realized was that discipline, because I wasn't very disciplined, and actually, most of us are pretty disciplined, if we're not in jail, right? Because we do go to work, right? We do those things that we have to do, so we're disciplined in that. So we may think that I have no discipline, but you do have some discipline out there if you're listening. But what I discovered was that it was like a muscle, or maybe like plugging in. The more I plugged into discipline, the more disciplined I became. It's a habit, like anything else. It gets stronger and stronger over time.
Yeah, well, you're disciplined. I mean, an alcoholic is disciplined to a certain degree. He's got to get his bottle at a certain time every day, or
Right.
whatever it
Right.
is. I mean, everybody has some discipline.
Right.
If you're driving a car, you're disciplined to come to a stop sign or a red light and stop. I mean, so
Right.
you don't go running red lights. So I mean, we all have some. It's the degree of discipline you have. Can
Yeah.
you take it? Can you do something and stay at it and to see it all the way through to the end, or do you get to the middle of it and it gets a little tough and you walk away from it? That's the difference. The person that keeps driving when the rain and the clouds come is the person that gets to see the sunshine on the other side.
I will tell you that's one of the issues I'm having right now is I'm working my way through my second book, and the first round went fine, but when I got it back from the editor, boy, it really I'm about halfway through right now, and it's very difficult to keep going, and that's the important thing is to just keep plugging away. But it is taking it's almost like it takes more discipline now than it did in the past. I don't know why.
Well, you get it, you into it. It's like building a house. You get to a certain point in the house, you put in the footing, the foundation, the walls, the truss. Each part of that has a different element. I mean, when you
Yeah.
put the footing in, you're on the ground. You stand on the ground. As you put the walls up, you get higher and higher. And by the time you get the truss up, you're way high, and so therefore you could fall and hurt yourself. Where when you're putting the footing in, you have probably a little chance of falling and hurting yourself. So I mean, each phase of that building is just like a phase of writing a book to me. It's what I have
Yeah.
to do. Books have to be edited, and you know very well that books have to be edited. You have people look at it in English. You have to spell
Yeah.
words right correctly.
Right.
You have to sentence structure. I mean, there's a many things. So people say, I want to write a book, but do you want to go through all of these things to get to that book? They will come. Believe me, if you sit down and say I'm writing a book, then you will be faced with all the things that are required to write a book.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I think that's a great point. I think the fun part for me was getting out that first draft. That's just kind of the thought dump. But then when somebody comes back and goes, okay, we do need some structure here. We need to move things around, and you need to be clearer here. It becomes a little more challenging for sure. But that's how you get a good product.
Yeah, but now here you're not going to believe this. Nobody ever believes this. Well, how many drafts of this book did you write? Of these 3 books? One time through, and I'm finished.
Really?
Time through, and I'm finished. I say what I gotta say. I make sure it's grammatically correct. I make
Yeah.
sure that I'm doing punctuation and those types of things in the right place. But I say what I gotta say. I mean, it's about
Wow.
my aunt, and I'm the expert there. Nobody else knows what I know about my aunt, so I'm an expert automatically. And so
That's
I write
awesome.
about it, and I put down the story that had to be put down, and then I'm to the next book, and so on and so on. And most people can't believe that you only one draft.
Wow.
And to me, that just is my way of writing. But
Yeah.
to a lot of people, it seems to be amazing. To me, it's just what I do.
That does seem amazing.
Yeah, mostly I've been in writers' conferences and well-known. How do you ever do that? But it just, I guess, take it for granted. I guess it was the way I started. The books came out fine. I got good raving reviews, and so the next one was I did the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. I followed that pattern. Uh, I don't ball up 50 yards of paper and throw it in the garbage can. I say
Wow.
I went to Niagara Falls with my aunt, and that's it. I'm through with it. As simple as that. So
Awesome.
it's all in how you think about what you're doing. When I put a line, but I'm very careful with every line I put down, and it's reviewed as I mean, it's I review and I go back then and thought, is this the right way to say it? Is this what I really want to say? And then when I come out the other end of it, yeah, this is what I want to say, and this is what's going on in the page. That's the way I look at it.
That's good. So I've had a really good time getting to know you more, and I know you've dropped a lot of great nuggets along the way. If you were going to summarize your 3 tips for living a more awesome life, what would be the top 3?
Well, number one, be authentic. Be
Okay.
who you are at all times, and because you are who you are, you live with yourself. Another, don't be afraid to change. You
Hmm.
know, that holds a lot of people back because you're comfortable where you are. But move forward and do the things you want to do in life because we only have a certain amount of time to do them. And nobody knows how long you have, but do enjoy each day and make it as fruitful as you possibly can. And last
Yeah.
but not least, respect everybody if you expect to get respect. Respect is to me one of the biggest words in the universe. We would not have the world we have if we all respected each other.
True.
Every problem on planet Earth comes from disrespect. Disrespect the planet, you disrespect your neighbor, you disrespect your friends, or whatever it is that you're disrespecting. Respect is a big word, and you don't deserve a lot of respect if you do not respect. Those are my pillars. That's the way I look at it. Respect is one of my love and respect are high on my list of things.
That's great. If you've listened to this already, you know what? As I always ask people to do, if you're having some challenges in your life, pick one of these. Pick one of these things. You know what? Maybe it's to be more authentic, or to not be afraid of change, or to just be more respectful to people and the universe in general. Pick one of those things and try it on for a week or two and see how that works for you. Because it's always hard to make big changes, but little changes are pretty easy. So you could start integrating something. We also talked about Sylvester. Get the most out of life. Don't make excuses. Boy, that's such a great one. Don't let anything stop you. Um, so I really great stuff. What a great life you've had. I hope you've got 30 or 40 more in you. We'll get a whole you know dozen books out of you maybe.
Well, I don't know if I want to be another 30 or 40 years, but I would, a few more years, and I think the first thing I do in the morning is says thanks for another day, and
Awesome.
I'm pretty healthy. I just had checkup, and so God has been good.
Good deal. All right, and that brings me to what I consider the very most important part of the show. This is where we play friend or frenemy, everyone. This is where I find out if Sylvester is my friend or my frenemy. Sylvester, please tell the folks at home, do you like pineapple on pizza?
No,
Oh, bravo, bravo. We need to cue the applause, everybody. Cue the applause. We have a friend in Sylvester. That's right. He does not like pineapple on pizza. I'm going to start keeping track of all the people that are anti pineapple pizza. Thanks for playing along with that, Sylvester. A little bit of silliness here on the show. Any final words for the folks at home?
uh, yeah, we're all part of the same race, the human race. We all share the same planet. We need to be kind to ourselves and our planet, and life will be better for everyone.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Sylvester. If you want to find out more about Sylvester Boyd's books, please go to boydsbooks.net. There's just some really good choices there. And please do go download if you've got the an Android phone, please jump over and go to the App Store. It's called Google Play, actually, for Android. Download Hypnosis Hero. iOS coming soon, but they're a pain to work with. It's more challenging, so I'll get that done hopefully soon. And go grab a free hypnosis download at jimkellnerhypnotist.com. We had a final comment. Grant Saunders says, great interview. Thank you, guys. Very wise words indeed. Sylvester, thanks again, and please keep writing books and living an awesome life.
Thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure being a part of your show.
Reach out to Sylvester, guys. Take care. Be well. Be awesome. Sorry, finding the right ending here.